if you're a caregiver, you need to watch this video. My name is Vitaly with In-Home Senior Care. For over 20 years, I've helped family caregivers to not only do a better job caring for their loved one, but just to help understand what it is that they're dealing with emotions-wise, right? What they're feeling. So number one, are you even asking the question? Are you thinking, am I even a caregiver? Yeah, I help a little bit, I do a few things, but does that really make me a caregiver? So if you are providing any unpaid help to a family, a friend, a neighbor, you are a caregiver. And so with that comes things that you just need to think about and to process. And so number one, you would be thinking about your identity, right? This is especially important for someone who is a spouse caregiver, because our identity throughout our life kind of changes a little bit. So when you think about, my identity is a husband, a father, a son, and a caregiver, partially, right? So none of our identity is like 100% one thing. We're all a little bit of a mix of the different things that we represent. So as spouses, for example, for sure, like when you get married, you're not caregiving for each other. You are, even if you can use the term or say we serve one another, we help one another, but we enjoy our relationship and our connection. But at some point, especially with aging, or maybe it's even just with a disease process, right? There comes a point where one really starts to take on that role of a caregiver. And so that caregiving role will slowly take over in terms of, if you think of percentages, if you look like at a pie chart and you think about how many, what am I? Well, I'm husband, I'm father, but as that caregiving role starts to grow, all those other things kind of have to contract. And so caregiver becomes the primary identity. And so with that, there's things to consider. So I always say caregiving is an amazing journey, because there's a depth to the relationship and there's a depth to the we feel great helping and being able to play that role. But as human beings, we are limited creatures. And so we will reach a point of where the stress of it can be too much. And so part of what we want to do in some of these videos is just to help provide you with a basic understanding of what's really going on inside of me. How do I feel? Why do I feel that? Why do I have guilt? Why do I maybe feel a little bit resentful about what I have to deal with? How come I don't have more help from maybe others in the family? Whatever those things may be, they're going to be very unique to your situation on the one hand, and on the other hand, they're going to be similar to a lot of other people who are going through the caregiving journey. And so caregiving is an amazing journey, but with it, like anything else, you need to have some practical learning and how to be able to do it well. So just like when you have kids, when you're young, it is an amazing process, right? But there is the sleepless nights and there's the things that happen that when you go through it, you're like, oh man, this is hard. Like there's just things. And so there's it's that bittersweet aspect of like, I love and it's amazing, but man, some of this is hard. And so for caregiving, what we want to do is just equip you. So a couple of things. So we talked about the identity. The second piece I want to just bring up is the kind of the frame of mind, or the paradigm that has to shift a little bit when you look at some of these things and you kind of go, okay, what can I expect of the person that I'm caring for? So this is especially true like for someone that's maybe dealing with dementia, right? Where the person isn't really an equal adult connection anymore, because you have to compensate for their deficits. So they can't really logically put things together. You can't really explain things. And so one of the things that we always encounter as family caregivers, trying to re-educate or just tell the person, hey, remember I told you this, or remember you need to be doing these kinds of things. And we tell people that doesn't work, right? Because part of why they're where they're at is because their cognitive process is deteriorated to where they can't really handle an argument or can't learn new information that you're trying to pass to them. Say, hey, remember I told you I was going to go there and I was going to take care of some things and I'll be back in a couple of hours. I just want you to stay on the couch. They can't retain that. And so the paradigm shift that you need to have is that you need to accept the new normal in your relationship. So whether you're a spouse or if this is your mom or your father, the new paradigm or the new normal is that this person can't take in this information, can't process it. So you can't have a dialogue back and forth and to say, hey, what do you think about this? What if we did that? What are your thoughts about it? That's too much information, right? Like we need to really simplify all those things as a caregiver. So the paradigm shift is that this is the new normal. And with that new normal, there might need to be some adjustments to what it is that we expect and what it is that you can expect of yourself as a caregiver, right? So putting in the correct boundaries around what it is that you can do. And so I use the example of we all have a cell phone these days, and every evening we plug in our cell phones and they need to recharge, right? Why? Well, because the battery will wear down and the next day it'll be useless. It will literally die without having a recharge. And so we are very similar. So sleep is one of those things, right? Our bodies recharge through sleep, but it's also with connecting with others, other important things that restore us, that as a caregiver, you need to make sure that you don't limit your ability to get your recharge, or you end up not being able to provide good care, or you're going to find yourself frustrated, you're going to find yourself angry and being guilty because you're saying things in a tone that you don't like, that just came out of your mouth because you're frustrated and you're spent and you don't have the energy and the your resources, your own resources are depleted. So those are a couple of things. So, and you, just your identity, understand where you are, and have to accept some of that. And then number two, kind of shifting of the paradigm. And then three, part of that shifting of the paradigm and a new mindset is the idea that, caregiving, there's going to be limits as to how much and what you will be able to do on your own to provide that care. So caregiving doesn't mean that you do 100% of that role. As a caregiver, it's okay to say yes to help. A lot of times, especially here in Minnesota, like we're very like, oh, are you okay? Do you need some help? Oh, no, I'm great. I'm perfect. No, you need to accept some of that help that some of your friends might be offering. Maybe it's somebody saying, hey, I can come over once a week and just maybe give you a little break. Maybe you can get out and do things. Professional services, right? So what we provide is that professional caregiving. It isn't because there isn't family caregivers to do it. It is because caregiving, the need for the caregiving can outgrow the ability for one person to do that role. And so we can come in and provide additional support, additional hours to make sure that you can have a break, and that make sure that when you are there and doing your piece of the caregiving, you are, your best self, and you can recharge your batteries. You can get together for lunch with a friend or go have coffee, or maybe it's go to the gym, maybe whatever it is that you need, maybe go to church, whatever those things are, bringing in additional support to allow you to have that break will help you to become a caregiver. And so the last thing I'll kind of say is that caregiving is a journey, meaning that it will change, right? So what it starts out with, right? A lot of times it starts out with just a very trivial little bit of help here and there, and then it progressively gets to where the care is heavier that's needed. And so that is something to think about, that is something to plan for. And again, if you're going to be successful, anything in life that we're going to be successful at is going to be things that we actually put together some of a plan for, and to think about, okay, what my normal is today probably won't be my normal 2 years from now, or maybe even 6 months from now. And so what happens when these things become issues? how will I handle that? And so just having that idea. So we love helping caregivers, helping you to better understand what it is to be a caregiver, how to gain practical information about just tips about how to interact and how to do it better. And so we will continue to publish videos more in depth about specific techniques, about specific things, and we'll work on trying to do some lives as well. So hopefully we can create a bit of a community to be able to have you plug into and learn more about what it is to be a caregiver and how you can do your very best. And someday when you look back at your journey, that you would be proud and happy about how that went and those experiences. And so anyway, our information's in the description in the video. If you ever have any questions, feel free to give us a call. But otherwise, I'm glad you showed up. And my name is Vitali, In-Home Senior Care. Thank you.